Okay, I'm Stephen Kelly, the Field Officer for Dried Fruits Australia, and today I'm talking to Warren Lloyd about his crop for this year. We might start by just looking at the vines we're looking at here today. Could you just explain to us what we've got in front of us?
Yeah, here we have some muskets. They've been grafted onto sultana on a Ramsey rootstock, so they're going to produce their third crop this year, and they've got a pretty good crop.
It looks terrific. So what do you put that down? There's a couple of things you've been doing differently over the last couple of years?
Yeah, look, it's been a really challenging season weather-wise. A lot of rain and fairly mild conditions in the early part of spring, or the whole of spring. So there are a couple of things that I did that I think that were beneficial. One was at the start of the season I got a professional to come in and service their spray equipment to make sure that it works at the optimal, and it clearly identified that the spray needed a fair bit of work, so that was a good start. The second thing is I went to my chemical supplier and just mentioned the fact that we can't use mancozeb anymore, and asked whether they could give me advice on what I could do for my spray program. And they've given me a range of products that I wouldn't normally do, and I've identified downy mildew as an issue, but also botrytis, which I had issues with last year. Grey mould and fruit fly was the other one. So I think that there's a really great benefit in having a solid, trusting relationship with your chemical supplier. So they were probably the two key things of going through and then trying to get regular sprays on, which was a real challenge. And I know that everyone in the industry has gone through the same thing, but this particular variety of some muskets seems to be the most bulletproof that I've got in terms of disease. So it's left me with a pretty good crop load and something to look forward to in the coming months.
Let's say for the next 2 or 3 weeks, is there much to do with the way you've got these vines set up? Or is it pretty well...
The next 2 to 3 weeks, it's really gardening issues.
Yeah.
So you've got to mow things, you've got to hedge it, put in a spray, I think, another fungicide spray. I think that there's pretty good powdery mildew control. I haven't noticed a lot in there, so it's trying to maintain that. The change in climate that we've had in the last month has been welcome as far as I'm concerned. The one resource I've got oodles of is water, so I'm probably irrigating more than I normally would, and the hope that the hot weather speeds up the ripening process and we can get it done. And look, the only other tip I've got, Stephen, is I'm going to stick with the best practice guide, which states that you should have your sultanas and carinas cut by the end of February.
Yep.
So I'll tell you now that I'm aiming to cut my carinas on the 28th of February. That's when that will happen. And that, the sun musket and sunglow should be cut by around the first, that long weekend in March. So I'll start around there and get it done. I know I can do it in 2 days. So regardless of whether it's ripe, I'll stick to that and get it done.
Terrific. Right, yeah. Well, thanks very much for your time, and look forward to coming back in a few weeks and we'll see how it all goes.
Anytime.
Right, yeah.
Pleasure.
Thank you.